Hello fellow crafters and welcome back to maxdmcrafting. This was a very weird project, guys. In my head, I was completely, exiting from my comfort zone, experimenting a lot, and especially in the design way. And I was all the time thinking maybe this is too much, this is not working at all. But till now, the project is quite cool. So let's check it out. The work in progress till now. Welcome to the moving castle. Stay white and listen. First of all, I started with the, 4 tracks. I like the way they work on my, badass tank and also on my scavenger, snail of the goblins. I was trying to give them a direction, so I managed to cut them in this shape. You can see here the measurements. They are 3 inches long on the top and a few less on the bottom. I love to work with medium graphics chipboard. It's a very, very, very crafty material. It's easy to craft, easy to cut, very sturdy. And this is very funny, guys. I was trying to understand which part is the front, which part is the back, but at the end you will see I totally messed up with this, and basically I put them on the opposite side, but okay. I'm using now the chipboard as a guide with the procs on a low temperature. I'm cutting them. I just putting the 4 tracks on a big chunk of rectangular form, as you can see. And I'm continuing to add details because this will be actually the sci-fi part of the castle. This will be like a moving platform that will sustain the castle. So 4 tracks full of details, as you can see here. I'm using now strips of 5mm like that for give depth to the 4 tracks. Just cutting in place and yeah, that's it. Quite easy, nice and easy. And this is, the revelation crafting material of this year. It was a rubber carpet that I bought for few euros at the dollar store. And since it's very difficult to glue with the hot glue, I'm using some nails to keep it fixed. These are a bunch of pieces that I have from a dollar store. At the end, I'm preparing a grid, 1-inch grid on the top of it, because this helps me a lot to have the idea of the dimension that I want to keep for the miniatures and stuff like that. Another winner of this year for the crafting material are those filter for aquarium. You can have a lot of pieces, I think 10-12 pieces for a bunch of euros or dollars. They are quite cheap, not very cheap, but quite cheap, and you can use them in a lot of ways. Now I want to add a big engine with a lot of pipes and stuff like that for the steam. I was just trying different combination here. I wanted to create an engine room. At the same time, I wanted to have it for, I love very much the pipes and steampunk stuff. preparing the floor here with a hole in the center, just measured by eye, and yeah, this will be a wooden floor. This creates a great contrast with the steampunk and with the, you know, sci-fi part. So in this project you will have wood, bricks, but also metal and plastic and stuff like that. I like that this project will be full of contrasts. Nice and easy. Those gray plastic parts are from the Mantic terrain crates industrial accessories, so they are engines, pipes. This is a sci-fi door, put it in a brick wall, so again, contrasts. Wooden beams, and I'm building the room just you know, around the engine, so it's just eye measuring and go on and just craft. When you work like that, very often you think that you are doing weird stuff and maybe you don't have the final project in mind, but trust me, it's the best way to have fun. In this way you have a lot of fun, you just go on and craft, and you are just problem solving step by step. For the two side walls, I'm using this plastic net because I wanted that from outside you can see the engine inside. This part is very funny. This is a clock tower, but actually without a clock, so it's just a tower. And I'm using, you know, a series of pieces pre-cutted, and the process of build this was basically very fast. I built this tower, I think, in 25 minutes, something like that. As you can see, I'm just putting together the pieces on the, you know, baking paper. It is fantastic for the hot glue because the glue will not stick on it. Putting the 4 columns together, the 4 walls, the 4 windows. Those are windows by Green Stuff World, if I remember correctly. The door that you can see is a clone that I made myself from the old fortress by Warhammer Fantasy. Now you remember the Top Hill Manor, the castle is designed to be put on one part of this beast. That's what it is till now. I know it seems very weird, but I promised it will be great at the end. Trust me. It will be a huge piece. Now with the Top Hill Manor on the top, we are about half, 1/3 of the project. You know, there's a moment in every improvised project where logic starts to break down. Where the blueprint fades, the ruler gets tossed aside, and your hands just start moving on their own. It's that moment when instinct kicks in, and honestly, that's where the real magic begins. When I started this crazy build, a mobile fantasy town riding on tank treads like some kind of wandering behemoth, I didn't have a plan. Not a real one, at least. Just a spark, a vision, something wild and loud and full of contrast. Something that doesn't belong in the usual realms of tabletop fantasy. But there's the thing, the worlds we build as crafters, as dungeon masters, as dreamers, They don't have to make perfect sense. They just need to feel right. And sometimes what feels right is a bit over the top. A town that moves, a city on threads, a dystopian chunk of machinery humming with life, dragging its wooden towers and crooked rooftops across the wastelands of imagination. So what do you do when you are halfway through a project and you ask yourself, is this too much? Easy, you lean in. Because pushing through that moment, where fear meets creativity, where doubt tries to pull you back, that's where your most original work is hiding. Trust your hands, trust your weird ideas. Trust that instinct that says, yeah, let's glue this chimney on top of the engine. Let's add a clock here and some wooden windows there. Let's go full madness. This hobby isn't about following rules. It's about telling stories that surprise first yourself, then your players. I want my players to walk up to this town and go, wait, what is that? I want them to feel a jolt, to lean in closer, to realize that something wild is rolling their way, and that whatever happens next, they won't forget it. So if you're watching this and wondering whether you can pull off something weird, something bold, the answer is yes, you can. And all it takes is letting go of perfection and giving your instinct the will for a while. Your imagination knows the way. And trust me, the ride's going to be worth it. This is a piece really very inspired by Mortal Engines that actually was a total flop at the Blockbuster, but with a lot of interesting graphics and ideas. This is a great project, and actually it's all about instinct without too many plans. So I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. Before start, remember to support this channel through Patreon or PayPal. Also check the links in the description box below. Those are Amazon affiliated links. If you buy through those links, nothing changes for you guys, just a little help for this channel. But now sit down, relax, and enjoy this amazing journey building the moving castle. Crack on! What you are seeing is my umpteenth project without too many plans, just instinct and imagination. I wanted to take advantage of these pieces of cardboard that I recovered from IKEA packaging, so I imagined the shape of a couple of houses using the cardboard as a skeleton for the buildings. With crafting cardboard, I covered the sides of the lighter structure in order to have a smooth support surface. Once the general shape was built, I started cutting out all the wooden beams, starting with the 4 corners. At this point, I started covering the walls with details, cutting the boards to sides and inserting pieces of foam with my favorite texture, the one that looks like stucco. At this point, I have inserted more support beams, or at least the ends. For everything else, the foam proves to be really great. It's really easy to remove pieces here and there and insert details. Since I want to keep these buildings modular, I decided to give them a nice base. Here you can see how I make a wooden floor in a few steps. With wall filler, I fixed the most evident gaps, then cleaning the textures with a metal brush. Now I use sprues to add an electronic touch to the walls. I'm using here some pieces from the Mantic terrain crate to add details. Everything you see being yellow or white yellowish has been cloned from the original pieces. Here you can see how I get other details and even the resin roof starting from a mold of my own creation. I fold the resin before it's completely dry and we're on the roof. Now, let's start giving a steampunk touch with some big pipes. These are always from the Mantic Industrial Accessories series. Every little accessory becomes an important detail for the final outfit. I add graphics chipboard to simulate steel plates, and using cheap jewelry, I simulate rivets. The second house has the advantage of having multi-layer cardboard as a support, which is an advantage in terms of weight and resistance. Here you can see what it looks like in the end, after I added a lot of details. The T-shape of the roof forced me to build part of the shingles out of foam. The difficult thing was to build the missing parts and not point out the difference with the already resin casted parts. This whole project relied heavily on my instincts. Each session worked like this. I took a part of the castle and tried to customize it until I was satisfied. Here you can see how I used the old oversized wheels to create an external drive belt. Not necessary, but certainly attractive from an aesthetic point of view and great help in balancing the rear weight of the castle. Time to cover the piece. First with the usual mix of black acrylic paint, Mod Podge and water, then with black primer sprayed with the airbrush.
I am your father.
Safety first, guys. So I'm wearing this mask because, the airbrush dust can be very dangerous for your lungs. This is one of my favorite parts, where everything starts showing itself for what it would be. I'm not here to bore you with all the painting process, guys. I prefer to give you a lot of pictures at the end. This is interesting though. I used 2 wooden sticks and glued small washers to the base. As you can see, I then fixed some strings, creating 2 identical tie rods. These were attached to the ends of my castle deck to help the command tower support the great weight of the front, or bow of the castle, and it worked great. As you can see, I also started painting the large main engine. In the engine room there is space for a small tea light, for a LED effect that seems to be very fashion these days. The pieces of the castle are completely modular. They can be used separately to create steampunk settings or dwarven stuff for the more classic ones. Now get ready, I present you my moving castle. The beauty of this piece is that it is certainly a majestic machine, testimony of a very advanced engineering. But there is more: a square, houses, a held station, a bell tower, pipes, roofs, raised and dangerous passages. It is a play space with infinite possibilities. Great. Okay guys, this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you very like this video, remember to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, happy crafting!